These are the odds about who is going to win the Stanley Cup, courtesy of DraftKings, which is, hey, the sports book that I use, and hey, maybe they'll sponsor the show in the eventually. Fingers crossed,
Is
please.
anyone watching? Is the Draft King watching?
King, good draft, sire, sire, please.
His Royal Highness Draft King, JB Smoove, or whatever's in their
I
commercials.
come. No, no.
That's
He's Caesar.
Yeah, sorry. That's we're gonna get demonetized.
Scratch that, please, good sire. So Bradley does not knoweth who the truest
Off
king
with your head.
in the land is, and that is Sir Draft. Anyway, putting that aside, these are the odds for the Stanley Cup, and I find just a few of these particularly juicy. Now, look, the Avs are the defending champs. They are the favorites. That makes sense. Like, I would take Cale Makar over any player in the NHL outside of Connor McDavid.
He's so good.
Like, I'd take him over Nathan McKinnon. I'd take him over Austin Matthews. I would take him over anybody, really. Like, that is the kind of guy that he is in terms of the role that he plays on the power play and how he is a lockdown defender. It doesn't get much better than Cale Makar. So I understand why they're the favorites, of course. It's just really difficult to repeat, right? I mean, they don't have the center depth that they had last year, obviously, with Bradley's guy, Nazem Kadri going to Calgary.
Yeah, my boy.
Going not to the Islanders in a hilarious turn of events. Going to Calgary, where look, I think Calgary. I don't think they're going to win the cup, but I don't think the drop off for them is going to be as significant as, of course, you thought it would be when they lost Johnny Hockey and Tkachuk. So,
and I think honestly, that's probably a testament to them being seventh here, or tied for seventh here at plus 1,500. Is that while we initially, like you said, with Gaudreau and Tkachuk getting let go or getting traded, that the Flames were gonna, be like a cellar dweller or bottom of the basement type team. But as we were discussing this earlier this week, like the combo of signing Kadri as well as getting Jonathan Huberdeau in that trade with the Panthers for Tkachuk, I think they were able to retool without losing as much as maybe we thought they were going to lose.
Yeah, they really made chicken salad out of chicken shit in this situation, and I would be thrilled, given how, if I were a Flames fan, how depressed I would have felt with those departures, with the return that they got, and how they kind of recalibrated. So, look, the Flames, I don't think they'll have enough offense to win the cup without those guys, but I'm not counting them out as being, in the final four.
No,
for sure. So, the reason I can't look, this is all about value here, right? So the Avalanche being favorites makes sense. Fade the Leafs. Are we serious here? They have the second best odds to win the Stanley Cup.
That is just a recipe for disappointment.
Hilarious.
Like there is
markets driving.
Absolutely, no question,
the numbers
without
there.
question. There is zero way to feasibly take that bet or respect that line until the Toronto Maple Leafs can prove they cannot suffer a uniquely backbreaking choke job every single time they make the playoffs.
And they don't have any goaltending
I mean,
not that I thought Jack Campbell was overrated the whole year, and I think he'll be overrated as an Oiler. Although maybe, look, anything's better than relying on Mike Smith.
Well, that's right. For the Oilers, from the Oilers' perspective, I imagine, even if they can get pretty competent play from Campbell, like you said, not relying on like 41-year-old Mike Smith to be in goal for some of the most like momentous games of the season would do well for them. I'm sure, especially with that's partially why for me I feel pretty good about the plus 1,500 with the Oilers.
Interesting.
Like it's low enough where it's not a slam dunk, or it's not too low in terms of I would be more concerned if it was even below like plus 1,000. But like I don't know, like McDavid, Draisaitl, if they can stay healthy, and now they have a younger goalie. I don't know. I think
about choke artists.
That's
but
like
they do have
thing.
the best player in the
world. I think
so.
That's I think the why. Given the supporting pieces, given the age reduction in goalie, I'm just thinking McDavid could just make that line like interesting or kind of compelling.
So yeah, I agree with you. You actually, I shouldn't say I agree with you. You convinced me that there is decent value there. But I'm gonna be real with you guys. I placed a wager today on the New York Rangers. Look, All right. Hey, I'm a Rangers fan. I've been open about this, and normally I really try to avoid betting on my teams. You'll see that later in our NFL Week 6 segment because I thought I thought the Giants +6 against the at home against the Baltimore Ravens was actually a pretty decent bet, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So the Rangers, I think they've improved. They've lost Ryan Strome, who I think is a net negative for the team in that he was holding back the second line with Artemi Panarin because he can't hit a net to save his life, and he just did not have the talent, despite being a good team guy, whatever, to keep up with Artemi Panarin on that line. And I know they had a love affair, like they liked each other, they were really good friends, but it was good that we let him go to Anaheim.
I think that's a great point in the sense of there was like a clear a talent discrepancy on that line. It's like, if to get the most out of Panarin, you want an upgrade from Strome,
and that's Trocheck,
right? Absolutely, like
who
Vincent
now
Trocheck
can win face-offs, which they haven't been able to do for years.
Right.
And I know that's kind of like face-offs, a little bit of old hockey head stuff, but it still is important, especially when you're taking the face-off in your offensive zone on a power play, for example.
That's the thing though. Is I'm with you. I don't think that's necessarily an empty stat or anything like that. Only because like you're saying, it's the ability to set up possessions. It's the ability to set up your scheme. It's the ability to start off with not only establishing your pace of play but establishing possession. So hockey to me is a lot like soccer. Like time of possession is so important. Just having the puck or having the ball at your feet or at your stick is just so crucial. And like I think faceoffs give an advantage, especially in a team that has not had that advantage before. Being able to gain that, I think, will be something that's like worth watching.
Yeah, and so look, Trocheck will be an upgrade there. They just have to build chemistry.
Absolutely,
it depends on the Rangers' biggest weakness right now is a young third line defensive pairing and right wing in general. Now, I really hope that Gallant keeps Capo Caco on the first line with Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider, because I just think if you let him cook there, then he develops. Don't yank him quickly to put him back on the kid line.
I think my biggest problem, this happens in hockey a lot, but it also happens to being across sports, is just I feel like, especially given the way the coaching carousel can spin in every sport, teams are so much less inclined to give young guys run if they don't perform right away.
Yeah.
And I know this is Kako's third season?
Yes.
But that I think third or fourth, but he's still
Jesus, time is really fun. I can't remember.
But he's still, even at any rate, so young that I just don't, he's
21 years old.
He's 21 years old. He has such clear physical tools, and he's a smart player. I completely agree. I just don't think it would be right to think, oh, he's not playing well right in the middle of the in the beginning of the season. Let's ruin his confidence and not give him regular season playing time.
Yeah, and so to me, like, look, I just think Trocheck is a more of an upgrade on Ryan Strome than people are realizing, because they don't watch the games and see how Strome really missed a ton of opportunities. And I think they're going a lot of statistics, which were he benefited a lot from having Artemi Panarin on his line. So if they're able to figure out the right wing spot, if they're able to slide Lafreniere up, and if perhaps Artemi can play on the right, I know that Lafreniere prefers to play on the left, and that's why he's still on the third line. If those pieces round out and they're able to figure it out, having Filipino on your third line and Barclay Goodrow, the team is deep. The team is really deep.
Goodrow is a great depth piece.
I mean, they overpaid for him with the term. I understand that. And then you have one of the two best goaltenders in the league. And
absolutely,
it's not really close.
No, oh my gosh, no, it's not close.
Between those two at the top, Vasilevsky and Shesterkin.
Yeah.
Those two are, and they just faced off, and
it's a fun matchup, those two.
And the Rangers got the best of them. Yeah, I mean,
Zibanejad had a beautiful goal to start off, and then obviously I'm not to give him too much credit.
He's usually a slow starter, and he went, it was like a shorty.
The handle, the
so
deke,
good.
It was just beautiful. It was such a nice goal. I watched it like 5 times, and then also, but I mean, to give credit, of course, to Stamkos had just like a one-timer, just rocketed past Shesterkin. That's going to be a fun matchup. Unfortunately, as it was last season too, it's going to be a fun matchup all year, though.
Yeah, and look, I'm not even biased here. The Lightning plus 1,200. They've made made the Stanley Cup 3 years in a row. Why are they, one of the what's all right, we have can you just put that back up really quickly. Yeah, because I mean, I think they're more likely to win the cup than the Hurricanes. I think they're more likely to win the cup than the Panthers and the Leafs.
Yeah, it's giving a lot of credence to teams that have not been that successful in the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, of course, I think the Panthers are still good and still great. Obviously, President's Cup winners last year.
And they have Tkachuk now.
And they have Tkachuk. Adding
I can
Tkachuk,
never say it. Yeah.
Adding Tkachuk is obviously going to just make their team, much better. And give them more depth, obviously. Same thing. I mean, the Canes are still a great team as well. I would go with recency in terms of playoff success over the freaking Leafs at plus 700.
Oh, yeah.
I would switch the Lightning and the Leafs here in a heartbeat.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and I'd put the Rangers. The reason I place this bet on the Rangers is because I think the Rangers were just in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Absolutely.
The Rangers have depth at the places where you need to have them, and they have one of the 2 best goaltenders in the league, and they have a very good coach. He's not an elite coach, but this is a league where he's right now Barry Trotz is unemployed. Like they have there's no concept of who's a good coach and who isn't. So.
And also just to say about Gallant, I mean Gallant's the guy who took an expansion team to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good coach. I mean,
speaking of that expansion team, can we just put those odds back up one more time? They're my dark horse.
I was thinking about it too. I was kind of low on them last year because I thought they were going to be so much better, and they were sort of underwhelming. Like they were kind of on the cusp of the playoff picture.
But Eichel was not himself.
That's the thing, though. I think maybe a season of healthy Eichel with everybody else who they have. This I can't imagine that the Knights won't be a really fun and kind of formidable team to watch this year.
The Kings, I don't think they'll win the Stanley Cup, but it's not. They're going to be a fun team.
Plus 2,500, plus 2,500 for the Knights, and plus 3,500 for the Preds and the Kings. That's not bad action either.
Yeah,
I think the Preds could be a little frisky this year.
I mean, fade the Bruins. I'm sorry,
hate the Bruins,
which is fun to say.
I hate the Bruins. Sorry, homerism. Excuse me.
Bradley's a Devils fan, and they are not in the top 14 that I could put on.
Yeah,
that
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, speaking of the Lightning and the Devils together, I think the Lightning were. I think that maybe the Devils overpaid a bit for Palat. Like I think maybe he's the best years are a bit behind him.
Well, because remind me, how old is he again?
He's not that young, and they gave him term. So Andre Palat.
Yeah, he's 31. Jesus Christ. Okay, yep.
And let me just see what that contract looks
like.
We
love to give guys on the wrong.
Okay, 5-year, $30 million.
Yeah, which is not so bad, but I think it's the years. It's not the money.
Yeah.
I mean, into his age 36 season, I don't know. It's
but the cap is going up by $1 million.
Yes, it's raining dollars in the NHL.
So those are the things I think you fade. I fade the Bruins. I fade the Penguins too. I just think they're
I agree. With Marchand. Wait, sorry. Did Marchand retire? Is Marchand still coming out? No. Sorry, excuse me. Chara retired. Chara has retired, but Chara's not even on the Bruins anymore.
Yeah.
I agree, though. I don't know. They did not impress.
They
did not impress. I thought they were going to be more of a contender in the playoffs last year. They have some obviously great players. I mean, Pasternak's so good, and
yes. But they're old now.
But even Marchand obviously. Marchand is one of those unique combos of being such an asshole, but what leads him to maintain relevance and maintain cachet is that he's just also a fantastic player.
He's so good. It's like Tom Wilson, right?
Exactly.
Although Tom Wilson's an actually psychopath.
He's which weird, of course, endears him to Caps fans. But
don't get me started on that. That's
I agree
most
with
toxic thing in hockey.
Oh, no question. That you love the guy who just mercilessly beats up other guys with impunity, basically,
and is dirty.
Yeah, and does dirty hits and stuff like that. Yeah. The Bruins, though, to that point, I agree that core is aging. It's not getting any younger. Marchand and Pasternak and is Krejci's still there, I believe.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, and he's not good. I wouldn't say he's getting any younger either. I think that just the core is aging a little bit, so I agree. Plus 2,500 is fine. I'm more excited by Rangers plus 2,000 or Oilers plus 1,500, or even Kings or Preds at a longer shot than
Yeah.
Bruins or Penguins in the middle of that pack.
Right. I just feel like Bruins, Penguins, it's a little name recognition at this point, and I just don't think that they have the guys and in like the youth and the legs that they need to actually win the cup this year. I feel fairly agnostic about the Wild. I don't necessarily. In fact, I'd probably fade them. I like to watch the Wild because I like to bet on hockey sometimes, and they score a lot, so they're usually pretty easy on the over. But like,
No, I love them too.
Fleury doesn't excite me.
I just think they're a little bit away. I think they're a step away.
Yeah.